All right, musicians, if you're watching this video, you're trying to figure out how to create a drone loop. Before you do this, you should obviously do the assignment from Tuesday. That'll give you some background on the cultural significance of drones and why we're even talking about them and using BandLab to make our own version. So let's get started. Cool. So the first step you're going to do should be pretty familiar to us. You're going to go to Google Classroom, go to your BandLab, find the assignment, make sure you click Teacher Assignment, not a personal project. But then we're going to click Browse Loops. So when we click Browse Loops, right, we're going to have all this stuff pop up. We're going to try to find something that is kind of short, maybe a little melodic. I would advise strings for this. So I'm going to go up to Loops. I'm going to go down to click on the Instruments button there. Then click Strings. And when I do that, I'm going to get a whole bunch of great options. I'm going to go ahead and select Afrobeat Pluck 1. If you play it, it's got a nice vibe to it. I'm pretty into that. So I'm going to drag it all the way into my software. And what I'm looking for here, right, is a 2-bar beat. So I got lucky with Afrobeat Pluck 1. It's already 2 bars. But if it wasn't 2 bars, I would need to either extend it or chop it down to fit that. So now what I'm going to do, now that I've got that first chunk in there, is I'm going to right-click, and you can usually do this by either, if you have a computer with a right-click, use the right-click, or hit Control on your Chromebook, and then just hit your normal button, and you're going to get these options popping up. I'm going to click Copy, then I'm going to click my right-click again, hit Paste. I'm going to do it again, hit Paste, and do it one more time. So I've filled up now where I have an 8-bar set of loops. Notice each one of these is perfectly lined up with every beat, right? It's super important that every single beat is lined up at the correct measures. Otherwise, it's not going to sound the way you want it to. So then the next step after that is we're going to go and do something a little new. We're actually going to add a track right up here. This is button Add Track. And now we're going to use real MIDI instruments. We're going to click on Instruments there. And when this screen pops up, you're going to need to go down here where it says Instrument. Click on that. And then you'll have this sort of piano keyboard looking thing popping up for you to see. Pianos probably aren't the greatest thing to use as a drone because, again, they don't sustain very long, right? Even if you clicked like that sustain button over there, it wouldn't be looking that great. So I'm going to go ahead and just use strings because I like the way they sound. Perfect. So now I've got this string orchestra set up. That's looking great. I'm going to change my octave down to 1 there. And then I'm also going to change the keyboard to pitch. This way I can see what notes I'm actually playing. Because you'll notice up top here, our key signature is C minor. So we don't really need to worry about minor, major just yet, but that C is very important to us, right? So when I play my drone, I'm going to find C down here, the lowest C I can give, and play that in this track. Before doing that, though, I have to make sure that I've got my cursor all the way up at 1. And when I hit the little red record button, I'm going to hear the metronome go 4 times, like click, 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 click. And that means right after the 4th click, I'm going to start recording. So watch what I do. And hold it all the way through to the end there, right? So I've got my little button down there. Now you might notice my MIDI thing got a little wonky. If that happens to you, you can actually just go click on the MIDI editor down here. And that MIDI editor will allow you to highlight this. And then if you go down into this area, click Select All, or just click on this guy there. And you can drag him all way back to the top there to fix things up. So again, if you're having issues with that, you can do that. Next up is you want to make sure you cut off any extra noise here at the end. So I'm going to drag my cursor over, just like we've done on others. Click slice and delete that. Good to go there. Then I'm going to do one kind of new thing, and this is where it gets kind of weird. We're actually going to select that third Afrobeat pluck loop. So you'll remember when we did our hot cross beat, we did that idea of repetition, like same thing, different thing, same thing. Now what we're going to do is take this actual loop that we have and just change it ever so slightly by shifting the pitch up. So I would recommend shifting the pitch up by 5 or 7. It's just going to sound best that way. I think 5 in particular. There's more we can talk about later in terms of scales as to why that sounds good, but let's take a listen now how this beat changes when I change that one little loop. Cool, that sounded really awesome. So now, just to keep things fresh, I'm going to go back to my loops over here. I'm going to click on beats, and then just find something that I think kind of goes well with this, something a little chill, or maybe not chill. It could be pretty hyped up. I think I'm going to go for, what am I thinking about? Ooh, yeah, I think this will work really nicely. Drag that one over. Oh, didn't take. Try one more time. It's got to be highlighted. Again, a reminder when you're doing this, make sure you drag it all the way over so we get that nice little synced up. And then there's a new way you can actually loop this. If you just click right here, right above that little circle thing, I can drag this all the way over here, and boom, it's all lined up. So my beat's done. However, I'm not going to click submit right now. Do not click submit. We had a lot of issues with tech when people were clicking submit. So instead, what we're going to do is print our screen. So if you just go to Control and then hit P, you should be able to get a page that looks something like this. And if you really can't get this to work, oh, and actually before you do that, make sure you put all that other stuff away, click off the loops, or hit Control P one more time. And if you can't get that to work, just take a picture with your phone. That would work fine too. And then I should get something that looks like this. Looks really pretty. I'm going to save it to my desktop. And I'm going to title it last name, first name, drone loop. I'm going to put it in one because I had 2 of these. There we go. Then what I'm going to do is download this as a mixdown so I can get an MP3 of it to make it easier to share with my classmates. And it might take a second, as you're seeing now. Sing a little song while you wait for it to render. Sing a song and you never will surrender. There we go, great. So now, all I gotta do now is find the Google form on Google Classroom and upload my MP3, upload my screenshot to that reflection. That way we can be able to share out together. So with that said, that's pretty much the video. If you have questions, please hit me up via email. Much love to everybody.